to the Off Nerd Podcast. I'm your main host, Kyle, and my co-host tonight is Andrew again for our gaming section.
Hello.
How's it going, Andrew?
Pretty good. Been busy, but I've played some games. That has occurred.
Yep, and I've actually beat another game, so I'm up to 3 games this year.
Wow, that is impressive. 3 whole games.
No, 4.
4.
Jesus.
Jeez, that is insane. When will this reckless stampede of game completions end, Kyle?
Addiction.
You may have a problem.
So, we'll start out with the news per usual. On Game Rant, they announced about there being a rating for a new Silent Hill game.
Yeah,
In Korea, it was the article came it showed up on the Korean rating boards where they go to show you what a game's gonna be rating wise.
So I just can't see Konami making a new Silent Hill game. This kind of comes out of nowhere. Konami's we just like to make gambling machines, and now all of a sudden they're back to video games.
I mean, that market could be drying up, and they're just trying to hurry up and switch motives, trying to get back into what made them money in the first place.
Wasn't what made them money in the first place gambling machines? I thought their primary revenue was from pachinko.
I mean, I can't tell you 100% for sure, but you might be right on that one.
I thought it was mostly pachinko. That they were like, look at these novelty video games. Let's make some of those.
That took off like a bat out of hell. So
Yeah, but then they made Metal Gear Survive and shut everything down.
Well, yeah, because they decided to get a bad case of the popular game genre.
Survive was just wow. That was a game.
Yeah, it sure was a game, and I won't go near it.
It's just amazing that they took a game that was so deeply political, talking about Cold War era espionage and nuclear armament, and then
So good.
And then changed it to be about a portal to another dimension with zombies in it made out of crystals.
Yeah.
It's just I can't. It seems so brutally I know Konami and Hideo Kojima had a huge falling out, but there is nothing more FU than taking a game that was fundamentally philosophical. Whether you could argue whether or not it was actually good philosophy or a good philosophical game, but a game that actually wanted to say something and turning it into just another zombie survival game.
Yeah, that was.
It was weird.
Yeah, it was. I think that was all done to be an insult towards Hideo.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But he recovered and got his own studio, and it's fairly successful.
I mean, yeah, he Death Stranding was a huge game. I talk about Death Stranding a lot because it's a game that I both hate and deeply enjoy at the same time. He's got an upcoming exclusive for Xbox that he's making.
I didn't see that. I'll have to look into that.
That was announced. It was announced a little while ago. They didn't detail anything about it, just that it was gonna happen. There was a deal in place.
Yeah.
Plus, they're making Death Stranding 2. That was already confirmed, and
that was definitely confirmed.
Yeah, Hideo Kojima's over there yeah, that's right. I don't need an editor. I don't need people to cut down how absolutely bullshit my scripts are.
Because people will play my games no matter what.
Yeah. That is correct. Even if he names every single character Stiff Concrete Man or Rebar Iron Man. Actually, the Iron Man one might get sued.
Yeah, right. So, on other aspects of the news, they did some more stuff with Overwatch 2, and there's a lot of backlash for it.
So, yeah, I saw what they're doing is Overwatch 2 is replacing Overwatch, just period. Because 2 is free to play, but you get all the content that you unlocked in 1 in 2, correct?
Yes, but the other thing they just announced was you're not going to have all the content automatically unlocked. So what they'll do is you'll start out with a select number of the champions, and then you'll play, and as you play, you will be able to unlock more of them as you go.
Even if you
like a
even
viewer
if you
level
had the
system.
even if you owned Overwatch 1?
Yes,
Ooh, that's
because
bad.
they're trying to create a gateway system to get everybody used to the newer champs, and it's not like a level cap like you have to get. It's like I guess you have to play X amount of games. So if you pay like 10 games, you unlock 3 people in that amount of time.
That's not too bad.
I think they said the max cap you have to get through to be able to get all the people is 75 games.
That's a lot. That is a lot of games.
If as a whole, yes, but if you think about how many times you go through, I mean, I don't know if you ever played Overwatch.
Yeah, I played Overwatch back in the day. I think everyone played Overwatch back in
Yeah,
the day.
I guarantee you, I went through over 75 in about a week.
See, I didn't play it that much.
I played it like 5-6 matches a day, 2 or 3 times a day.
Oof. Oh, okay. That's a lot. That's a lot of game.
Yeah, but they weren't that long of matches either.
Yeah. There were some ways to lengthen a match, but most of the time they were pretty short, especially if you were getting wiped out.
So you could run through it fairly easily, especially the first 6 months of the game where the maps were even smaller.
I gotta say, I haven't seen a single thing that tells me that Overwatch 2 is justified in any way, shape, or form. It's like the same engine. All the changes they're making don't really seem that positive.
No, it's adding on a couple game modes and a storyline.
Yeah, but they delayed the storyline.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Storyline's not even at launch, I don't think.
Well, that's stupid.
Yeah, that was one of their big reasonings. Like, we're gonna add like PvE content, and then they delayed it. It's just like, okay, what are you trying to offer here?
So the other controversial part of that is the way it's set up now is when you go to sign into the game and play it for the first time, you have to submit a phone number.
Yeah, I saw that. It's an anti-cheat measure, isn't it?
Yep, and it has to be through a mainline carrier. It cannot be
like Google Voice or anything like that. Like
and it also can't be a prepaid phone or any of that. It has to be a full active phone.
That's pretty wild. Like, all right, so anti-cheat stuff's pretty crazy. Like, if you look at Valorant installs like, what is it called? Like the Guardian or something like that. It's basically this super powered rootkit for your PC that watches everything you do. Like, people still play Valorant, even though this thing is now on their system and can do some damage if it were ever to like be compromised. But Overwatch asking for phone numbers, that's wild. But I mean, I know they're still trying to get Overwatch taken seriously as an esport, even though it's really not that entertaining. And it's and it's been dying off, I think.
What, the esports scene or
the Overwatch League stuff? I don't think it's as popular as it was.
No, I don't even think any of the esports anything is.
Well, people still watch League and CS:GO.
Yeah, but not nearly as it was like 5 years ago. It was crazy 5 years ago.
It's fair. I think that might have to do with the spread of streaming in general. Like, people are so used to watching tons of different streamers that streaming like an esports event doesn't have quite the same impact.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so Overwatch, I mean, that's fine. They can ask for phone numbers if they want to take their multiplayer anti-cheat stuff super seriously. There's a variety of things you can do. I don't particularly care. Like, they can do whatever they want. I mean, they already have my phone number. I'm pretty sure that's already in my Battle.net account.
Right.
So, because I have the mobile authenticator, and I think they did text messages at some point. I don't remember if they did.
I believe they did.
But
so they already have you anyways.
I don't think it's a huge deal. I think people are blown up a little bit about it. It is novel. It is a very unique way to handle anti-cheat.
Yeah.
Because good luck, if you get banned by your phone number and it has to be a mainline number, then I mean you can get a new SIM card and a new phone number, but it's a pain in the ass.
Exactly, and I think that's what they're going for. Is people won't want to do all that shit.
Yeah. Like that's pretty amusing.
Uproot your life so you can get unbanned from video games. Okay.
As far as news that I know, the death of Google Stadia that got announced today. That has been expected since Google Stadia launched.
Yeah, it was a bad idea in the first place.
Well, no, it's not a terrible idea. They just monetized it horribly. Like they did a bunch of really just dumb things with it. Plus, it's Google. Google was always destined to kill it. Google has a good idea, doesn't know how to handle it, and then crashes it directly in the ground and kills it off. That's how they do a lot of their services that aren't their core money makers. And Stadia launched in 2019, and immediately everybody was like, "This is this is priced terribly." Like you have to buy the hardware, then you have to buy a subscription, and then you have to buy the games. Like that doesn't make any sense. So Google did announce that they are refunding all hardware and software purchases that you did over the past 3 years. So, I mean, you just get your money back, except they will not refund subscription fees. So, your subscription is just eaten. It's gone away.
Yeah, you're taking the money on that.
So Google Stadia, like, no one really used it. It had a couple cool use cases. I know a couple people that played on it on occasion, but it's not something you would really want to play a lot, as opposed to something like Game Pass Cloud for Xbox. You can play that wherever you want, and it's just included with your Game Pass Ultimate subscription. You don't have to pay for extra hardware. You can use your phone. You can even use your Xbox. You can just click a button and it'll stream every game. So you don't even have to install it. That's super handy. Stadia never reached that level.
I don't think it was going to. I think, like you said, it was doomed from the start.
Oh yeah, it was doomed from the start. And the worst part is, Google bought like 10 to 15 game studios to work on Stadia exclusives. And apparently, from what I saw online a little bit ago, they didn't even tell those studios that Stadia was shutting down today. Those studios found out from Google's like press release, which I can't say I'm shocked by that. Google isn't necessarily a company I would say is organized or coherent or
trustworthy.
Yeah, or thinks before it does stuff. But some of those companies were pretty decent, and now they're just gonna get shuttered. Like Google's not gonna sell them off; they're just gonna shut them down.
Yeah, and they're gonna be fucked.
Yeah, they're gonna be completely fucked, and that's just a shame. Like that's terrible. The damage it deals is just bad. There was, like I said, there were some good developers in there. Stadia dying off doesn't really change the streaming landscape. You have Game Pass streaming, which that thing's a juggernaut. That tech is just gonna grow and grow and grow. There is streaming that PlayStation does with PS Plus. I've never tested it. PS Plus Extra isn't really a good deal. And Sony just kind of did it to try and get a little bit of the Game Pass mind share. But it's not a particularly good deal. I don't know how good the streaming tech is there. Amazon has Luna, which is basically a Stadia direct competitor, and that's gonna be dying off. It's gotta die. I can't imagine they're making any money on it. It's like the same monetization as Stadia was, which is buy the hardware and then buy the games, and then you can stream them to your Amazon products. Woo. Yeah, that's gonna be dying soon.
Yeah, that's not gonna last. Speaking of like weird decisions and companies doing stuff, I just remembered I saw earlier in the week, and I didn't get to post it on our Discord, but something about Netflix getting their own gaming developing.
Yeah, Netflix bought a bunch of gaming studios and is going into games. That's gonna crash and burn so hard. Like,
I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna say they're gonna succeed, but I think we might get one or two decent things out of them.
Yeah, but the games won't stick around. As soon as Netflix shutters that division, this isn't going to be like traditional console games. You're not going to be able to go back and enjoy them years later. You're going to be able to stream it once or twice, and then when it inevitably dies, you'll never see it ever again. I have no optimism for Netflix's gaming division. It seems incredibly cynical, and I don't think it's gonna work out. I really don't think it is.
I'll have hope for us.
Okay, you can have the hope there. I do not, in the slightest.
With Netflix, it's hit or miss with me. Like they have produced and created some awesome stuff.
I mean, they have, but
they've also produced and created some really crappy stuff.
I would argue that most of the products on Netflix are crap. Like, they fund so much reality TV that, like, that's one of their biggest hits on there. And
because people are retarded.
people like the reality TV. How would I enjoy my life if I didn't see two unfortunate people chosen for this show fight over something that doesn't matter?
Yeah.
How would I? What would I have to do? Would I actually have to think about philosophical questions in my life rather than is Becky gonna slap Monica?
They might. Oh, they might.
I think it's a very cynical, very just money grab from Netflix. I don't foresee much coming from it. I could be wrong.
Well, it's not that I hope you're wrong. I'm just hoping that we see something like decent.
That'd be nice. That would be nice. All right, Kyle, I want you to tell me about Cat Quest.
So, during the last 2 weeks, I started going through Steam sales and seeing what I could find because there was a lot of sales on like button mash games, hack and slash stuff. So, a lot of games like Dynasty Warriors. Well, while I was scrolling through that, I found a game called Cat Quest 2. The reason why I even thought of playing it is because me and Cheetah were looking for games that we could play together, and it looked interesting enough to pick up and try.
Okay.
For the $4 I paid.
Okay. All right.
So I originally picked it up for our computer, and then we found out it was not internet crossplay. It was like same console, like screen share.
Oh, okay.
Shared
all right.
screen play. So I had to refund both of our copies that we put on each of our Steam lists, and then Cheetah bought it for her Switch.
Okay.
And it's an isometric, top-down Zelda-esque RPG. It's a action RPG.
Now, are you questing for cats, or are you a cat on a quest?
You're a cat and a dog on a quest.
Wait, are you a cat and a dog at the same time?
If you play solo, yes. So I'll give you a quick rundown of thing. You play as the two kings of both the lands, the dog land and the cat land.
Okay.
And they're about to go to war because their kings, a separate set of kings that you believe are imposters, are trying to fuel that war with a dark being behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So that's how it all starts, and everything is so adorable with this game. Everything's cute. Everything's paw references are perfect. Like everything is some kind of cat or dog pun.
Okay.
And then there's just some great jokes within some of the towns you get.
Is there a lot of dialogue in this game?
Not super heavy, but there is quite a little bit here and there.
Okay.
I mean, overall, it was like maybe a 10 to 12 hour game. It's not a super long game.
Now, is that doing like 100% or just doing like the main story?
If we just did the main story without doing any of the side stuff, I'd say it probably took us 7-8 hours.
Okay.
But yeah, there's just some of my favorite parts are we walked up to the dog. We got to the dog land about halfway through, and one of the towns is called Pound Town.
I know why it's called that, but it's also just hilarious in general.
Yeah. It gets. There's so many other good ones. One was called the Puss Cave.
Oh, come on, game.
Blast.
Come on, game.
Cheetah has sent me a message saying that people have done a pro speed run of the game in 4 hours.
Okay, all right. Wow, that's a
is,
pretty lengthy speed run, actually. So
yeah. So I mean, it's really cute. It's a really really cute game. The storyline's really generic.
I would assume so. It sounds like a very like family friendly game.
Yeah, it was an independent, family-friendly game. There's a third one coming out. I'm excited for it because now me and Cheetah like it.
Okay, I do have to say though, for all its family friendliness, I'm not sure. Was it Puss Cave? Is really
Puss Cave and Pound Town.
Yeah, those are gonna have some questions for people.
But I think that the developers, just like they do with any of the Pixar movies, they always include some really adult humor in there that kids will never understand.
Yeah.
To be able to include mom and dad so they make adult jokes. One of the other good ones, and it struck me so awesome, is there was this random dude.
Uh-huh.
And he was dressed kind of weird. We talked to him, and his name was Dogman, the Dog Knight. Dog Knight.
Dog Knight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doge.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Suge Knight, right?
Nope.
Whoa.
Nope. He's a ripoff of the Dark Knight.
Oh, okay.
So you help him do some quests, and then you have to fight a cat who has split personalities of two different people, and it's Two-Face. It's a ripoff of Two-Face in a cat form.
All right.
Adorable.
All right. So what you're telling me is next week on the movie podcast, you're going to go over the cinematic portrayal of Dog Knight and the cat Two-Face and how it works into the Batman canon.
You're right. No, I think one of the discussions we're definitely going to have though is Batman Return a Christmas movie?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're on this boat.
It's the right boat to be on.
Exactly. So, back to this. So we completed his first 2 quests.
Okay.
And he goes, "Thank you for your help. Here's the keys to my secret lair, the Bat Cove."
Wait. The Bat Cove?
The Bat Cove.
What? Has he been bat themed at all? Like, is he bat themed? Is his clothing like bat themed?
Yeah, it's got bat themes on it. He's got the bat wings on his head and stuff.
Okay, all right.
He's the Dog Knight instead of the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So then we go into there,
mm-hmm.
and you get his costume and stuff, and all his abilities for his costume, for the armor for that, is money themed. So anytime you pick up money, you get an additional 25% for the one, and then an additional 5% for the other armor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy. So it's all about getting rich. It's all about being rich with that.
That's pretty solid.
And then you get his axe, which every time you hit somebody, you get 3 gold with too.
I gotta admit, I didn't remember Batman's axe being very prominently featured in the movies or comics.
Yeah, right. I have to reevaluate my knowledge of Batman. So then, we found like one of the secret walkways in the cave.
Yeah.
And there's a tombstone at the bottom of the cave.
Mm-hmm.
And it reads it's a memorial to Thomas and Martha Wayne. I can't remember what they're called, their specific names in this.
It's the dog version.
Yeah, it was adorable.
Okay. It's adorable. The dog's parents are dead.
Yeah. Right? So I loved that part, so I took screenshots of that and stuff. I'm going to put it on this episode.
Aww.
I'm going to go through all of it and show you a thing. We have clips of it that we have ready to go for today's episode.
That sounds adorable.
Oh, it was. And then they're just, everything's so like the one dog is called Hado Doggo.
Hado
And,
Dago.
and he's like the ancient samurai knowledge guy who's like a weaponsmith.
Oh, okay. It's like Hattori, like Hanzo. Like, is
Yeah.
that like that? Like Hado Dog?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hato Doggo. That's his name. And then everything he makes reference to is hot dog themed.
That,
Like,
okay.
it's so funny. Like, he'd be like, we're the ketchup to your hot dog. And, you know, he just makes all kinds of weird, like, Mr. Miyagi puns, but they're always about hot dogs and stuff.
That's an interesting direction to take a character.
It was really awesome. I was enjoying this character so much. I enjoyed the game as a whole so much.
It sounds like it. It sounds like you had a blast with it.
Oh, we did. We had a fun time, and then I think the best thing that me and Cheetah loved the most about the game was the saving system.
Okay.
So the first time we did it, we walked up. There's saving stones.
Okay.
And as soon as you click on them to save, your character literally just falls straight on their face, like flat falls, like they died.
Okay.
But when we first did it, we thought our characters just died for no reason, and then they just stood up at full health and progress saved. So that was our favorite feature in the whole game because every time we'd save, they'd make a thud sound too. So it was really funny every time.
Huh. Oh, okay.
There was
I wonder if that's supposed to be a play on like cats like always landing on their feet in case when you save you just fall over.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just adorable. There's a lot of meta stuff like the one cat's like constantly glitching out and stuff, and he's like, "I feel like I'm part of a game." And then there's like characters of the developers in the game, and they're like, "You are," and then they're like, "We're gonna reset you and patch your bugs so you can be part of this world." And like, it was really, there's really some odd missions in there that are really just well done. They're really well done. They're like good, excellent nudge winks to the players.
Was there anything you disliked about the game? It's okay to say no. Like, if there was nothing you disliked.
No, I think the only things I really disliked are like, one, I don't think there was enough stat stuff. Like, it's very simplified.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very simple game. I think I like it because it's simple, but at the same time, I feel like they could have put a little more to it. Not much, like, because I think they just wanted to keep it simple to be able to anyone could pick up and do.
Yeah. I mean, if it's for like families, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I feel like they just could have put a little more intricacies into it.
Okay.
Like, and like some of the equipment becomes really useless really quickly. Like, there's just some pieces that are just so significantly better, you're never going to go back to other pieces. One of the other things to say is when you open chests in like dungeons and stuff, you get like a random roll to die on what the armor piece will be. Well, really early game, Cheetah got all the blue mage stuff early, and then a lot of her random chest opens were upgrades to the, because when you pick up another blue mage robe, it just adds its levels to your original blue mage robe to upgrade it.
Yeah. So
she became really overpowered early game really quickly with blue mage ability.
And you just weren't.
Oh no, I was fine. I picked up a bunch of like heavy duty tank armor, and I just took all the hits while she just shot everything.
It's fair.
And maybe they could have been a little more. Like the storyline could have probably been a little longer, a little more detailed. But those were the only real criticisms I had.
For a family-friendly game, I don't think that like their loot system was like a huge priority. Probably they probably weren't like, oh yeah, we need to balance this game super carefully.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm guessing that they kind of were like, here we go, we put this in here. You can use it. It's usable.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, those are my only parts of the whole thing. So I can't really say. I really can't say much about it because, as a whole, it was good.
Huh. Okay, that's Cat Quest 2. When did that come out recently, or has it been out for a while?
Um, 2011, Cheetah says.
2011. Wow. Okay, that's been out for a while then. Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's awesome. I've seen it like mentioned and around. I've never tried to play it. You said the third one's coming soon?
Uh,
I'm waiting for the Cheetah update.
Yeah. May, they just confirmed there's going to be a third one.
Okay. All right. So hopefully that'll be out soon, and further dog and cat adventures can be had.
Yeah. Oh, it was just so fun.
That...
if they're going to do anything like they did with the third one, I think there's going to be like a bigger team party thing.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we'll get you to be on board with us. And
as long as they add like internet, like if they add internet multiplayer, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
That'd be pretty wonderful.
Agreed.
That's fantastic. You completed a game though. That's pretty insane.
Thanks, Andrew.
No. I'm just saying, like that's. Whew, this is an event. This is an event. I'm dumbfounded right now.
Huge.
So I have dabbled in some games, and there's one I can talk about with spoilers, but there's one I do not want to talk about with spoilers. So the first game I want to talk about, I played it on Game Pass. Actually, I have more than two now I think about it. I played it on Game Pass. It's a game called Immortality.
Okay.
Have you heard of this game at all?
Can't say that I have.
Okay, so the premise of the game is that an actress starred in 3 movies that were never released for various reasons. Her footage was thought lost to the ages, and like all these film nerds were like, "Oh, this is terrible that her movies are lost." That never actually came out until somebody discovers a bunch, like all the reels of her films locked in a vault. The game is you are playing essentially like an app where you try to kind of figure out how the movie lines up and what's going on with everything in the film. And I'm not gonna spoil much because I really enjoyed this game, even though I thought it didn't execute its central premise as well as it could. You essentially play a game where you open up a clip of a movie, okay?
Mm-hmm.
One movie is set in the 60s, one's in the 70s, and one's in the 90s. And it's really great. However they shot these sequences, they used enough effects to make it really look like a 60s film, a 70s film, and a 90s film. Like the 90s film feels like it's just some trash direct-to-DVD thing, and they really execute they execute the feel really well. So you open up a clip, and what you can do is you can play the clip forward and backwards, you can scrub forward and back, and you can highlight objects in the clip and click on them. Clicking on them will open an almost identical object in another clip. So like clicking on a mug of coffee will find another mug in another clip that you don't have unlocked yet. So it'll unlock a new clip, which has a bunch of items in it that you can click on and unlock more clips. And you can click on actors and actresses, their faces, to unlock clips where they're in. So you build this gigantic catalog of movie clips. And you kind of build the films and all this stuff. And I gotta tell you immediately that the game isn't about assembling the movie. That's the biggest spoiler I can give, is that the game isn't really about putting the movies together. I will The game is very big on content warnings. There's a whole content warning as soon as you boot the game up. It's like, click here if you want to get some spoilers, but also be warned about what is in the game. And I'll give you a content warning. It is technically a horror game.
Ooh.
It's...
I mean, I was already assuming that.
So one of the problems is, and I can't really talk about the horror aspect without really spoilering it.
All right, then don't. Duh.
Well, one of the things I wanted to say is they don't lean as much into the horror as they could. They kind of use it to... They use it to leverage the inherent questions regarding, like, what is film? Does film really make you... does it make you immortal? What is film immortalizing anything, or is it just kind of like an entity that makes money? Is it just, what is it? Like, what does it really mean?
Yeah.
And they don't leverage they had an opportunity to make the horror aspects of the game super creepy, but they didn't. It's still horrifying, but they decided against taking it to a pretty rough extreme, and I gotta say, that actually disappointed me a little bit. It's cool what they did, and the story they tell is a very fun, horrifying story, but it's got two major problems. A, I think they could have done it creepier. B, the actual gameplay is just scrubbing through movie scenes, finding things you haven't clicked on already. And the game doesn't tell you what you have clicked on. So you can click on something and it will take you to a clip you already have unlocked. And the other problem I have is, say there is a mug, I used the mug example earlier. Say there are 10 scenes with a mug in it. When you click on any mug in a given scene, it randomly selects which mug scene to give you. Meaning, you could click on the same mug 30 times, and technically there's a solid chance that you won't get one of those 10 scenes. I don't like that. I think there was a different way they could have handled the puzzle aspects there. Mm-hmm. Like, for instance, I'm pretty much done with the game. All I have to do is unlock 3 scenes, and I'm finished. Completely. I already beat the story, but there's some extra stuff if you unlock all the scenes. The problem is, I don't know what scenes I'm missing, and I don't know what I've clicked on.
Well, we're gonna find out.
And once you assemble all 3 films, you have like 200 scenes. Each one can run like between 5 seconds to like 5 minutes. So
you're gonna watch 3 movies.
On the other hand, the movies are actually kind of entertaining. It includes behind the scenes, like... So you have, like, the behind-the-scenes before, and afterwards you get, like, media interviews they did for a movie that never came out. And it is entertaining. They tell a good story. I do like it. They nail the video quality. And yeah, it is a fun game. It's kind of spooky. I enjoyed it. I think it's a good game that I otherwise wouldn't have played. It was on Game Pass, and I was like, oh, all right, I'll play that. Yeah, it has, by the way, I have to warn everybody, it has a ton of nudity. Like, just a ton of nudity. The 60s movie is like a weird religious sexploitation film. The 70s movie is a detective, I'm pretty sure, sexploitation film. And the 90s movie is... kind of about prostitution? Ish? So, there's a lot of nudity in this game as a whole. And that was very surprising for me because...
Immortality, you say, huh?
Kyle's like, bye now. Bye.
Nope, I can't buy it till tomorrow night after I sell a Magic Collection.
It's fair. But it's a pretty good game. I was just shocked that it was on Game Pass with, how many tits are in it. But it's a solid game. I liked it a lot. And for Halloween, I think it's a pretty good game to play.
Good.
You can argue as much as you want about the spoilery stuff, but it is genuinely a solid story and horrifying, if not as creepy as they could have gone with it.
Okay.
I played another horror game also recently. That was
I
also
know,
on.
a lot of horror games, and it's not even Halloween season yet.
Well, it was also on Game Pass. They added it recently. It's called Beacon Pines. Now, anything that ends with Pines usually means it's going to be a horror thing, like Wayward Pines.
Yeah.
Which Wayward Pines as a book series, just a super quick tangent. First book was great. The rest of the books were not great, not good. Like that entire series really relied hard on that twist in the first book. But anyways, Beacon Pines is a choose your own adventure game. Okay? It takes the style of a choose your own adventure book, except instead of picking a page, you pick a verb. Okay? So you go through a scene and it'll finally it'll pull back and it takes place in a storybook and it will pull back and it'll be like so and so decided to, and then you pick a verb to slot into the sentence and then that causes the story to branch off from there. You get the verbs by interacting with the storylines inside the scene you're in. So, like, you can run around, and if you slap a watermelon hard enough, it'll give you the slap verb. And then you can use that verb throughout the rest of the game. Finishing the game requires you to get all the verbs in the game. And it's a story about a small town hiding a dark secret, and a bunch of little kids who are unfortunately the inheritors of the pain of that dark secret. And it gets surprisingly dark in some occasions for a game about essentially children. Everything's furry, so like you play like a deer kid, and your best friend's like a dog.
Okay, never mind. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's the one that me and Cheetah were looking at.
Oh yeah, Beacon Pines. Yeah. It's an enjoyable game. I liked it. The writing is surprisingly mature. It's not it's hard to explain, but it is a game which acknowledges that sometimes good people do very bad things and that you can still be good. It takes a very mature tact to a lot of problems. And honestly, I think the weird branching storyline thing with the verbs is so clever. Like, it's well executed. And it's also not hard. Like, it's not difficult to find the verbs. You just gotta be paying attention. I'm not gonna spoil this game either, because it's really short. That's the one knock I had on it, is I'm pretty sure I beat the entire game 100% in maybe like 5 or 6 hours. But the story it tells is good, and like I said, surprisingly mature for what it is. And yeah, I thought it was very well done. The art style is gorgeous too. The character drawings and all that stuff, absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, we were looking at that.
It's good. It's a good game. I highly recommend playing it. I played it on a lark because I was like, this looks interesting. And I had seen a review that was like, this is actually pretty decent. I was like, okay, I'll check it out. I got some time. And yeah, I got engrossed. It was great. It was a great game. What if you don't play it if you like action-y stuff? It's not action-y. It's a lot of storyline. It's a lot of voice acting. It's a lot of feelings. And horror. It's definitely horrifying.
Yeah, we were looking at it. I did send you a game this week.
You did send me a game. I booted it up. I haven't had a chance to play it though. You sent me the Ultra. This one's beloved by like conservative groups everywhere. Oni-Chanbara Z2 Chaos. Legendarily, the Oni-Chanbara series is almost mythological in its absolute fetishization of the female breast. It is that game is basically giant-breasted women murdering zombies.
Well, no, there's one giant-breasted woman, and then the other one's the other side of the coin, the schoolgirl.
Okay, yeah. Some of these outfits are obscene. Like, and I say that as someone that does not use the word obscene very often.
I was first introduced to this series by its American translation for the Xbox 360, which was Samurai Bikini Squad.
Yes, yeah.
And I owned it, and I played it, and oh my god, was it bad.
Oh yeah, it's a terrible game. You play it for one reason only.
It's the spectacle.
Yes, it is the absurdity. But Kyle, I actually have another review to do.
Oh my god, go on.
So, recently, September 20th, 22nd, in fact, Deathloop. Deathloop was an Arcane Studios game that released last year for the PS5 under a Sony exclusivity deal, just like Ghostwire Tokyo. On September 14th, that exclusivity deal expired, and so Xbox released Deathloop onto Game Pass for Xbox and PC, along with a patch that adds a whole new ending, apparently.
Okay.
And I've been playing it, and I really like Arcane games. I'm gonna preface this: the Dishonored series, fantastic games. Deathloop is pretty much the game I wanted them to make. It is stellar. The basic premise is there is a man that you play named Colt. He wakes up on a beach in the morning on a weird island where everybody has a face mask and everybody seems to act really odd by trying to kill you. You murder a bunch of people and then you die. You get killed by some mysterious lady. And then you wake up on the beach again. Just as if you had woken up at the start of the game. And you find out that you are trapped in an eternal time loop on an island where the same day just repeats over and over and over again. And it was intentionally made that way. You are one of the 2 people on the island who retains your memories between the daily resets. Everybody else does not. And your goal is to stop the loop, end the time loop. And it's really well executed. Like, it is a fun game. It's a first-person shooter / stealth game, okay? You can choose to be stealthy or not. I choose not because it's way more fun that way. And so it's a first-person shooter where, because you're looping through time, you don't get to keep your stuff. Like, if you pick up a bunch of guns, the next day they're just gone because time is reset. There is a way to keep your weapons by picking up residium, which is an elemental time residue. And then you can infuse your weapons and gear to keep it with you throughout the loop. But it's at the very beginning of the game, it's hard to get that that element, so you're not really doing much with it. And the entire core mechanic of the game is there are 8 people. This is spoilers, but it's only spoilers for the tutorial. There are 8 people called visionaries. They have special powers. They are the people keeping the time loop running. So your job is to kill all 8 of them in a single day. And that will break the loop. You know this because you wrote a note to yourself at some point to note that this is how you can break the loop. The problem is, all 8 of those people are never in the same place at the same time, unless you orchestrate it. So the entire game is you traveling to 4 different areas of this island during 4 different time periods of the day, and figuring out how to get these 8 people into situations where you can kill all of them in a single day. Because the gameplay is, in the morning, you can go to one of 4 maps. In the noon, you can go to one of 4 maps. Afternoon, one of 4 maps. Evening, one of 4 maps. You need to line it up so that all 8 of these enemies spawn throughout the day. In places you can actually go to, because if you go to one place in the morning, you can't go to the other 3 places. So it's a game about exploration and memory. You read notes, you find passcodes, you open doors, you set everything up, you figure out over time how to line all this up to actually execute the perfect day. And it's really well done. I like it a lot. the gameplay is fast. The combat is super quick. It is stylish. It has like a really cool sci-fi 60s aesthetic. And it's just really well executed. It's not overly complex either. Once you kind of get through the tutorial, it's a pretty easy game in that you know what you need to do. You just have to figure out how you do it. The other quirk is the lady that kills you in the first loop actually will hunt you throughout time. So, when you're on a map, if the map has one of your targets on it, there is a chance that another player will invade your game and kill you. So it has like a weird competitive PvP mode to it as well. As soon as the other player spawns on the map, it locks you out of escaping. So you have to like either go hack a console to open the door so you can escape the map, or you have to hunt down the person that invaded you, who is usually stronger than you and does not get attacked by any other enemies on the map.
Oh, that's great. That sounds wonderful.
It's fun, because if you kill the person invading you, they drop tons of very high quality loot. Like some of the best stuff. And it's just a fun game. I like it a lot. It is a game that is functioning on all cylinders. The only thing I can think of that I don't like is that you kind of eventually reach a point where there's like one thing on the map that you need. So you go into the map, you run to it, and then you just leave. I wish there was almost more lore to it, but I had read that they actually kind of cut back a lot on the game because of how few people actually finished any of the Dishonored games. Like, the completion rates on the Dishonored games were terrible. So for Deathloop, they were like, okay, let's knock this back a little bit so people can actually see the ending at some point.
Or at least try to see the ending.
Yeah, there are a lot of mechanics going on, but in the end of the day, it's a pretty simple game. It's shoot stuff, figure this whole stuff out. One touch they do that I love. You know how you can go online and be like, oh yeah, this door code is like 1121? At the beginning of a Deathloop save, it seeds all the keys throughout the game. So they're random. You cannot look up any codes in the game at all.
Take that.
I loved that. The one nice thing is, once you find a code, wherever that code goes to throughout the rest of the game, it's auto-filled for you. You don't have to like search your journal or anything like that. So, yeah, it is a great game. I highly recommend playing it at some point. It's on Xbox and PC Game Pass. It's actually also on PS Plus Extra as a free game as well. I really highly recommend playing it at some point. It's just stylish and well made, and it's Arcane doing their absolute best. And I hope it gets a sequel. I doubt it will, because Arcane looks like they're putting a lot of eggs in one basket for, what is it, Redfall? The vampire hunting game?
Yep.
I really hope they come back for a Deathloop 2. Or just something weird like that. It's such a unique premise that needs to happen more in AAA gaming. Like, 100% more.
Yes, I agree, because the rehashing of the same old stuff's getting boring. It doesn't allow people to be creative.
Now, I'm going to get knocked because people are going to be like, it's just a first-person shooter. That's not creative. No. I'm not saying the first-person shooting is super creative. I'm saying the whole package is. It's such...
Everything. It's a first-person shooter that gives you such a different style of gameplay that makes it.
Yeah, correct. It's like a superhero power fantasy combined with an assassination game, combined with a stealth game, combined with a really shockingly well-executed 1960s sci-fi lure game. Like, it's so well done. Like I said, I love the stuff that comes out of Arcane, so I was predisposed to like this, but I really don't have any knocks against it. I am. Arcane has executed pretty well with everything they've had. I didn't like Death of the Outsider that much. That wasn't my favorite Dishonored game. It had some problems. But 1 and 2 were great. I even liked Prey. I thought Prey was really well done. It shouldn't have been called Prey. I don't know why it was called Prey. But
Yeah, I don't ever get that one either.
yeah, I thought that game was actually really good. Like the whole space station with the Art Deco theme. It was kind of like BioShock, but like it was well done. And the twist at the end where it turns out that was just like an experiment to see how you would react to the aliens because the aliens had already taken over Earth. That was a cool thing. I liked that twist. It was weird.
Yeah. So, there's something you didn't mention about all the games that you played.
What's that?
Yeah, none of them are Xenoblade 3.
Oh, I've played Xenoblade 3 as well.
Yeah, where are you at on that? So?
I think I'm in like the 3rd hour of cutscenes in chapter 6.
Yeah, it's a short play chapter, but it's a lot of cutscenes.
It's so many cutscenes. And I'm like, I don't want to skip these, else I'm gonna get shit for this. Like,
yeah, you will, because it's a pseudo important. It's that one section you really can't miss.
Like, so I've just been watching cutscenes, and God, I've been trying to do hero quests too to like unlock all the level caps that I can find.
Yeah,
I'm in the snowy place. I don't remember what it's actually called. All the region.
You're that far?
Yeah.
That's Are you sure you're still in chapter 6?
I'm pretty sure I'm still in chapter 6.
I don't think you are, because if you're in the snow region, that's past chapter 6.
I thought I was in 6. I'll have to check my save and see if it says 6 or 7.
Okay, well, let's just... I'll ask you, did you get past the castle?
I'm past both castles.
Then yes, you're beyond chapter 6.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm in 7 then, and I just didn't notice.
7 pushing 8.
I thought there were only 7 chapters.
There's 7 or 8. Hold on. I originally looked this up because I didn't know. Yeah. So you still loving it? You still digging it?
Yeah, I am. I am. It's just the cut.
There's 7 chapters.
Okay.
Sorry, it was 5, right? 5 is the execution scene.
Yeah, 5 is super short.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. I thought I was still in 6.
Right, nope, you're in